Have you ever had a customer cancel on you in the last minute, or they said to you, oh, well, we're just going to go away for a month, so hey, not sure what we're going to do, or hey, my son's ill this week, so you can't come in. So if you have ever had any of that problem, you know how frustrating it is when customers actually do that to you. Watch the video right to the end so you can discover 4 more items that you definitely need to include in your domestic customer contract. Remember to watch last week, which was part 1, another 4 items that you definitely need to add to your domestic cleaning company contract so that you can stop working for free and your customers know exactly what rules and regulations they need to follow to help you make running your cleaning business so much easier. If you've never heard of me, I'm Ilse Whiteman, the cleaning coach, and I am the creator of the Cleaning Coach Training Academy to help you build a more secure, safe and profitable cleaning business. If you want more customers at any time, remember to download my free roadmap. The link will be below in the description for you to download to get more customers for your cleaning business. So last week we discussed 4 very important items that you need to include in your actual domestic contract. So today we will discuss another 4 that's very important to your business. So the first thing you definitely need to include, which is very important on your domestic customer contract, is they cannot take your cleaner. They cannot, under any circumstances, solicit their services privately, because your cleaner have already signed a contract with you, I hope, that states that they cannot work for any other of your customers or any other cleaning company after 2 years of working for you. So that means that basically for 2 years they can't work for anybody else. They can't work for your customers because they've signed that contract. The same applies to your customers. They cannot solicit that cleaner that your cleaning company supplies, whether it be self-employed or a contractor, for their own needs. However, you can have this period for as long as you possibly can. Your terms and conditions and in your contract states that it can be a year or 2 years or 3 years if you want. It's just about making sure that they know they can't solicit their services. They can't say to them, you come and clean for me for less. You have done the legwork. You have done, well done by the way, getting that customer. You've done the work to get that customer. You've probably paid money, not so much in giving you money to get that customer, but you've worked hard on your reputation to get to a point where you got that customer. So you've done the work. It's your company's customer. So your cleaners can't take your customers, and nor can your customers take your cleaner. You just have to make sure that your customers know this in the beginning. Don't just add it to your contract and say, there you go, because they probably won't read it. However, you need to give it to them to sign. And if they don't sign your contract, you can't clean for them, because what they're saying is, I'm not willing to agree to your terms and conditions, which basically every single company out there, you have terms and conditions that you have to sign saying, I agree to cover that company and to make sure that doesn't happen. So just make sure they know this is how it works. You can't take our cleaner, and also you cannot, under any circumstances, take that cleaner's number and communicate with her privately, because everything needs to run through the company. Everything. Because even if they clean for that customer already, they can't just go to that customer and say, oh, hang on, don't tell the boss, but I can clean your oven for a lot cheaper. Right? It's just to cover yourself and to make your customer aware that this can't happen. It has to go through you as a cleaning business owner. And you have to approve everything that happens in your business. So the second item that you can include in your domestic cleaning contract is holiday cover. What happens as far as your cleaners are concerned. Obviously you cover cleaning, so you have to let them know if one of your actual benefits of your company is they will have exactly the same cleaner all the time, which is fair enough. But if they're ill, or obviously if they go on holiday, you need to be able to find staff to cover for them. You will have, if that employee is ill or on holiday, we will get cover for that job with somebody with the same qualifications, as sense of they've been trained the same. So the customer can expect the same standards of cleaning, not a lot less. And also don't give them a cleaner that's a lot better, because then if you give them a holiday cover cleaner that's a lot better than the first cleaner, then you're going to get a problem where the customer's going to go, well, hang on a minute, she's better. Why am I paying the same money for somebody that's better? So make sure they've had the same training, they're on the same standards, and that's why it's so important to train your staff very consistently. Also, what happens if your customer goes on holiday? So basically, you could say to them, On holiday, when you go on holiday, we come in and clean as normal. However, because of the first week will be normal cleaning, if you go away for 2 weeks, say for instance, the second week the house has not been lived in, so it will obviously be quicker for us to do the cleaning. So you can say, okay, while you're away, we've got some extra time. What would you like us to do extra? Within a certain, obviously, limit, we will do something extra. If they go away for a month, you're going to clean the first week, and then for 3 weeks the house won't be lived in. So they can either decide to still pay you full and you do some extra cleaning to make up for stuff that you don't normally have time for, or however, if they don't want you in at all, you can just state they have to pay half, because you have to keep that slot open for your customer. Just because your customer goes on holiday, it's not your staff member's fault. They've got bills to pay. They rely on a certain amount of money coming in. So you can't just say to your cleaners, oh, sorry, well, that week you'd only have 2 customers and that week you've got 15. It's about consistency and just letting your customers know, look, if you go on holiday, we'll still clean, but however, the second week we understand it's not going to be as dirty, so we'll clean something else. Or we do half the time, just a quick dust and a quick vacuum, because it won't be any hard cleaning, and we'll charge you half. Or we'll just charge you half just to keep your slot open, because we have to keep our staff members, otherwise we can get another customer and just quickly slot them in there to take over. But I can't get a customer for a month and slot them in there, so you'll basically lose your slot. Remember, your staff members will still be expected to pay exactly the same money. If you ever say to them, oh, well, I can't because the customer's away, that's not your cleaner's fault. They rely on that money. So just remember to make your customers aware of your holiday policy. What happens when you go on holiday and what happens when they go on holiday. And make sure when you ever go on holiday, you email all of your customers and tell them exactly who they need to speak to, who is second in charge, if they have a complaint or they need to deal with your company, so they know. Don't let them bring and say, oh, well, she's on holiday. You're like, hang on a minute. Are you running a company or not? Third item you need to include in your domestic contract is your cancellation policy. What happens if a customer doesn't want your cleaning for a certain amount of week? They cannot call you up an hour before and say, oh, I don't want cleaning now. That is a fully chargeable slot that was slotted in, and they still have to pay for that. But you have to let your customer know in the beginning. So you've got a scenario. All of a sudden you're at home, this is your customer, is at home, and all of a sudden their child's ill or something happened and they can't have the cleaning done. If they don't let you know 48 hours before, they will still be charged full price. If they cancel before 48 hours, you will still charge them half, because you still have to pay your cleaners for half, at least. Otherwise you're going to upset your staff that you work so hard in getting. But if your customers know this up front, they will cancel very rarely, because they know that they might lose their slot. And if a customer cancels 3 times, say for instance in a certain amount of time, whether it be 3 months or 4 months, you will let them go, because you can get a customer that will fill that slot, that won't keep cancelling, which means you won't keep losing money. So basically what they do by cancelling your service is letting you and your staff members down. That's what they're doing. The same as if you didn't go and clean for them for 3 times, say for instance in 3 months. They're not going to like it. Included in the cancellation policy, you need to include your notice period. Like, what do they do and how do they give you notice if they no longer want your company to work for them? So you need to include there the amount of time. Like if they've been with you for under a year, you can state 2 weeks. If they've been with you for longer than a year, you can state 2 months or a month. It's up to you how much notice you require to be able to replace that customer quite easily. Now, the only thing that is sometimes if a customer said, right, we don't want your service anymore, we're switching over to another cleaning company, you'll probably find that your staff's not very happy with that customer already and might not deliver the standards that you have so far. So that means they're going to let your company actually down a little bit more. I'm not saying this will happen with all cleaners. It might just happen with some cleaners. But also it's not fair on them to expect to actually be there for a very long period of time if the customer's not happy, because they're going to feel awkward being there in the first place. So it's just about regulating your actual working environment your cleaners are actually working in to make life easier for your cleaners as well. So it's up to you, but just make sure that you tell your customers you have to email me at this email address. You have to state like when it will be finished. You have to state why you're cancelling with us in as much detail as possible, or even if we can rectify maybe the problem that's causing you to want to switch. Because sometimes it could be a little thing that they decided, well, she didn't clean the bin twice in 2 weeks, so we don't want you anymore. Just make sure they know exactly how to give notice, what to do about it, and how much notice, and what to expect once they have given their notice. However, they're changing companies for a reason, so you need to find out what that is so that no other customer suffers with that problem. Then the fourth item, or the eighth item, if you've watched last week's video, to include is their permission to use materials for marketing. Say for instance, you get a testimonial from your customer and you ask them for a nice picture. You have to include in your contract with a little tick box next to it saying, do you mind if we use this material for marketing purposes? And can we take photos of items in your house and use it for marketing purposes, i.e. social media? You have to have their permission. Remember, to a customer, their home is the most important thing. That's where people feel safe. That's where people, if everything else in the world goes wrong, they go back home because that's where their family is, and people are very protective over their homes. Any pictures of any customers, even if it's a tap, without their permission, you're basically breaking privacy laws because that's their private area. Unless you ask them on your actual domestic contract, ask them, do you mind? We will not capture your private address or anything private in your home. We'll only take pictures if need be about a tap or a bath or something like that. And when we use your testimonial, we will use the words exactly agreed by you and the photo you send us, but do you agree we can use it for marketing purposes? Which means the whole world can see it. So just make sure you get their permission and then you're good to go and you're covered. Remember to comment yes down below if you agree. So that's it for this video, this guy's weeks. Remember to watch last week's part 1 of what you need to include in your domestic customer contract. Remember, I upload a video every single week and I have a private Facebook group where cleaning business owners come together to help each other grow and for you to have a more profitable cleaning business. The link will be down below and I will definitely see you next week. Same place, same time. Remember to press that subscribe button and the bell so you get notified of every video I upload every week. I'll see you then. Bye.